Welcome everybody to another episode of Inside the Pickle Jar. This is really just a cozy corner where we talk about all of the really tangled, non-linear world of neurodivergent minds. I'm Tanya, your host, and I am, call me an executive function cartographer, trying to help you just kind of get through life. And today we're going to talk about something deceptively simple and yet complicatedly hard. It almost sounds kind of rebellious in a world that's obsessed with productivity, optimization, and hustle. This is going to be a little bit different style of subject matter that I'm covering today. And what I am going to talk about, though, is Niksen. It's spelled Niksen. And it's the Dutch principle of doing nothing. Now, that's not resting with a purpose, it's not meditating with a goal, and it's not recharging so you can get back to work. It's just being. And if you're neurodivergent, meaning ADHD, autistic, ADHD, sensory sensitive, or living with a nervous system that runs maybe a little spicy, Niksen isn't just a cute cultural idea. It's a lifeline, and it's a pressure valve. It's a way to get back to yourself. So let's settle in for just a minute, grab you a nice cup of tea and get you a blanket, your favorite fidget, and let's talk about how to do nothing together. So let's first talk about what is Niksen. Niksen is a Dutch word that literally means to do nothing. Is not the American version of doing nothing, which usually means I'm multitasking in sweatpants. Niksen is intentionally aimlessness. It's letting your mind drift like a leaf on a stream. It's staring out the window. It's sitting on the couch without a podcast, without a to-do list, and without guilt. It's the opposite of productivity culture. It's the antidote to burnout. It's the nervous system whispering, hey, can we just exist for just a second? And here's the thing, humans have always needed this, but neurodivergent humans, we need it like plants need sunlight. Because our brains are constantly processing, scanning, filtering, translating, buffering, decoding. Even when we look still on the outside, our inner world is a fireworks show. And Niksen gives that fireworks show a bit of a dimmer switch. So, why do neurodivergent brains resist pausing? Well, let's talk about the elephant in the pickle jar. Pausing is hard, especially for neurodivergent folks. And this is the reason why. For one, our brains really crave stimulation. ADHD brains especially run on novelty, on movement, and dopamine. Doing nothing can feel like deprivation. Then number two, stillness can feel unsafe. For many autistic or trauma-impacted nervous systems, stillness means the brain suddenly hears everything it's been ignoring. Emotions, sensations, thoughts that can feel overwhelming. And then we've been conditioned to mask. So whether it means to perform, to keep up, to prove our worth through output, stopping feels like failure. And then the last one, our nervous systems run really hot. Hypervigilance, sensory sensitivity, emotional intensity. These are not flaws, they're features, but they also mean our baseline is higher than most people's. Niksen isn't natural for us, but it is necessary. So here's the neuroscience of doing nothing. This is where it gets really nerdy. When you do nothing, truly nothing, your brain shifts into what's called the default mode network, or DMN. The DMN is the brain's idle mode. It's where creativity happens, where emotional processing happens, where memory consolidation happens, where your nervous system gets to exhale. For neurodivergent folks, the DMN is often underactivated because we're constantly in task mode, masking mode, or survival mode. Niksen is like giving your brain a warm bath. It lets the DMN switch on. It lets your nervous system downshift from go, go, go to, oh, this is what calm feels like. And here's the kicker. Doing nothing actually makes you more capable of doing something later. But that's not why we practice Niksen. We practice it because our bodies deserve peace, not because peace makes us productive. So, what's the difference between Niksen, rest, and mindfulness? So, I want to clear up some confusion around Niksen. It gets preached around a lot, but Niksen is not mindfulness. It is not meditation. It is not rest with a purpose. It's not a recovery strategy, and it's not a productivity hack. Mindfulness asks you to pay attention. Meditation asks you to focus. Rest asks you to restore. Niksen asks nothing of you. Nothing at all. It's the absence of intention, the absence of structure, the absence of self-improvement. It's the closest thing adults get to the childhood feeling of staring at clouds and letting your brain wander off without supervision. So, how does Niksen support the nervous system? Let's talk about the body. When you practice Niksen, you're giving your nervous system a chance to shift into parasympathetic mode, the rest and digest state. Here's what happens psychologically. Your breathing deepens, even if you don't notice it. Your heart rate variability improves, which is a sign of resilience. Your sensory nervous system gets a break. No input to decode, no masking to maintain. Your cortisol levels drop, your stress chemistry unwinds, and then your emotional regulation becomes easier because your system isn't overloaded. Niksen is like pressing the reset button on your internal operating system. It's not a luxury, it's maintenance. So here's how we're gonna practice Niksen. It's really hard to understand. How do you just do nothing? So here are some maybe gentle neurodivergent friendly ways to begin. Start with window gazing. Just look outside and let your eyes wander. Be sure and sit somewhere comfortable with no agenda. A couch, a porch, a patch of sun on the floor. Hold a warm drink and just let your mind drift. No podcast, no scrolling. Watch a plant. Like really, just watch a plant. Plants are slow on purpose. Take a purposeless walk. Not for steps, not for fitness, just movement. And then let yourself idle between tasks instead of filling every gap with productivity. Start with just 30 seconds, and then a minute, then 2. Niksen grows best in small doses. Here's the problem, because there's some emotional barriers around practicing Niksen, because these are the hard parts, okay? Niksen can bring up things like guilt, restlessness, fear of being unproductive, anxiety from quote-unquote wasting time, the urge to multitask, the discomfort of being alone with your thoughts. And these are not signs you're doing it wrong. That's the sign that you're healing, actually. Your nervous system is learning that stillness is safe, that you don't have to earn rest, that you are allowed to exist without producing. Okay, if it feels okay, let's try a tiny moment of Niksen together. It doesn't matter if you're walking right now, you're in your office listening to this podcast or watching the vlog, even if you're driving, because you don't have to close your eyes and you don't have to breathe a certain way. You don't have to focus. Just be here. Let your gaze soften. Let your shoulders drop a little. Let your thoughts wander wherever they want. You're not doing this for any reason. You're not trying to relax. You're not trying to improve. You're just existing, and that is enough. I'm going to give you a chance to practice. There's going to be 20 to 30 seconds of silence while you practice Niksen. So how did that feel? Just to do nothing. You know, Niksen is a radical act in a world that worships productivity. It's a love letter to your nervous system, a reminder that you are not a machine. You're a human being with a beautifully complex brain that deserves gentleness. So if today's episode resonated, please share it with someone whose nervous system could use a soft place to land. And if you want more cozy, neurodivergent affirming conversations, join me over on Patreon, come and back to YouTube, wherever you landed with this. There's lots more out there. I have lots of wonderful conversations. And we can build rituals and rhythms and community that can feel like home. So until next time, please like, subscribe, and share. And may your pauses be nourishing and your nervous system feel held. I wanted to provide you with a guided Niksen practice so that you kind of got a feeling for what Niksen might feel like if you do it on your own. So I just want to welcome everybody, you know, wherever you are, in your kitchen, if you're in your car, you're curled up on the couch, maybe you're wandering around your house with a mug that you've probably reheated 3 times. This is your invitation to do absolutely nothing. Not to relax, not to breathe a certain way, not to improve, just to be. If it feels okay, just let your body find a position that doesn't require effort. You can sit, you can lie down, you can lean against a tree like a sleepy houseplant. There's just really no right way to be here. So for the next few minutes, you don't have to hold anything together. You don't have to track anything. You don't have to perform or produce or optimize. You get to exist. That's it. That's the whole assignment. Let your shoulders drop a little, or don't. Let your jaw soften, or don't. Let your breath do whatever it's already doing. Nothing needs to change. Nothing needs to be fixed. If your thoughts want to wander, let them wander. If they want to loop, let them loop. If they want to float off like dandelion fluff, let them go. You're not steering the ship right now. You're just sitting on the deck, watching the water move. There's no focus required, no mindfulness, no goal, just gentle, aimless drifting. Notice what's around you without trying to notice. Maybe there's a patch of light on the floor. Maybe there's a hum in the background. Maybe there's nothing in particular at all. Let your senses be soft, unfocused, uncurated. Like you're gazing out a window on a slow train, not looking for anything, just letting the world pass by. Your nervous system knows what to do with this kind of nothingness. It's unwinding, unclenching, reorganizing itself in the background. You don't have to help. You don't have to participate. You don't even have to notice. Just let your body be a body. Let your brain be a brain. Let yourself be held by the moment without doing anything to earn it. You are allowed to pause. You are allowed to be still. You are allowed to exist without producing. Right now, in this tiny pocket of time, you are enough, exactly as you are, doing exactly what you're doing, which is nothing. And that nothing is sacred. When you're ready, not because you should be, but because your body naturally begins to shift, let your awareness drift back to the room around you. Maybe wiggle your fingers, maybe stretch your toes, maybe take a breath that feels a little deeper than the last one. There's no rush, no finish line, just a gentle return. Thank you for giving yourself this moment of Niksen, this tiny rebellion against the world's demand for constant doing. Your nervous system felt that. Your future self will feel it too. And you can come back to this nothingness anytime. It's always waiting for you.